At a funeral, a woman lies in her coffin with one hand hanging out, holding a piece of chalk. On the floor, she managed to write just one letter, A. In front of her stand three pregnant women, Amy, Anna, and Ava. One of them must be behind what happened. But who? Look closely. Anna's bouquet looks a little strange. One of her flowers isn't a flower at all. It's the handle of a knife she tried to hide. After school, Emma has a strange feeling that someone's following her. She walks faster until she reaches her locker. Inside, there's a note written in red letters. It says, "Readers unite now." Can you figure out what it means? Divide the word into 3 rows, then read the first column vertically. It spells run! During a bungee jumping adventure, Lily is about to put on her safety gear when she suddenly falls. Oh no! A camera captures the moment and 3 people are nearby: her sister, her best friend, and the instructor. One of them pushed her. Who do you think it was? Let's see, the sister has both arms outstretched, but she's actually trying to grab Lily. The instructor is preparing the gear for a safe jump, but her best friend is trying way too hard to act innocent. He's the one who pushed Lily. David walks into an old haunted house. He steps into a dusty classroom, looks around, and laughs. Ha! There's nothing scary about this place. But suddenly, the lights flicker and the door slams shut behind him. He's trapped. On the blackboard, glowing numbers start to appear. He realizes he has to solve this puzzle to escape. Can you figure it out? Here's the trick. Each line adds the current sum to the previous result, so the answer is 36. After saying the answer out loud, David watches the numbers vanish from the board. But suddenly, a piece of chalk starts moving on its own, writing the word C over and over again. Now David's confused. He doesn't understand what's going on. Do you notice anything strange? Look closely. In the middle of all those C words, there's one that says C. Oh! This school's ghost must be telling him to look at something. Quickly, David turns around and spots 2 dusty mirrors, both showing his reflection. But something feels off. One of them isn't real. So which one shows the true reflection? Remember, the chalk was moving by itself. David never touched it, so the real reflection is the one that shows his empty hands. A jewelry store is robbed and the security camera catches the moment. But we can only see the thief's hand reaching for the jewels. The next day, the police bring in 3 suspects and ask them to show their hands. Can you tell who the thief is? It's suspect number 3. Look closely. There's a band-aid right where the thief's tattoo was during the robbery. He's just trying to cover it up. 2 pairs of twins walk into an eyewear store. Ruby and Rose pick these glasses. Oliver chooses his pair next. Now it's William's turn. Take a close look at the glasses. Which ones will he pick? There's a pattern, and it's not about matching with their twins. They're choosing the color of their glasses based on the first letter of their names. Ruby and Rose went for red. Oliver picked orange, so William will choose the white ones. A couple is on a road trip when suddenly they hear a loud noise. Lisa hits the brakes hard. She gets out of the car and runs to check what happened. Turns out the tire's flat. She shouts to her husband, "Brian, come here!" But he says he can't help. Why not? Lisa ran out of the car so fast she didn't realize she locked Brian in. He simply can't open the door. A university opened new teaching positions, but with one special rule. The new professors had to know how to write with their left hand. 3 candidates took the test and wrote a word on the board. The judges saw the middle one writing with his right hand and immediately disqualified him. But he swears he followed the rule. How is that possible? Well, the rule said teachers must know how to write with their left hand, but it never said they couldn't also use the right one. The candidate is ambidextrous, so he still qualifies for the job. Ford was waiting to see the doctor, but he was getting impatient. He started complaining nonstop to the young man sitting next to him. After a few minutes, he realized the guy hadn't said a single word. Ford got annoyed until the young man said, "Sorry, I couldn't hear you." Was he telling the truth? Yes, he was. We all saw the noise-canceling earbud in his right ear, but what Ford didn't know was that the young man was deaf in his left one. Uh-oh. A man is flying in a helicopter when the pilot suddenly passes out. There are 3 things he can do: try to fly it himself, use the emergency radio, or jump with an improvised parachute. What should he do? Don't panic. Trying to fly it alone is way too risky, and jumping with an improvised parachute is even worse. But the radio connects him to rescuers who can guide him safely. The best move is to call for help. A woman is in her office when a flower pot crashes down from the floor above. Someone tried to harm her. She looks up and sees 3 coworkers nearby: Clara, Mia, and Daniela. Who did it? Let's see. Clara and Mia just look shocked, but Daniela is turning away, hiding one of her hands behind her back. And it's covered in dirt. She's the one who pushed the pot. It's late at night when Sarah gets a call from her boss asking her to go to the office right away. She needs a last-minute babysitter for her daughter, so she calls her cousin. The young girl doesn't answer the phone, but texts back, "I can't, I'm not feeling well," and sends a picture to prove it. She's wearing cozy pajamas and looks pale, but Sarah immediately knows she's lying. How? Look closely. The photo's background shows daylight streaming through the window, but Sarah called her at night. The picture must have been taken on another day. A woman is climbing Mount Everest when a freezing wind hits her. She finds 3 items nearby: a blanket, a bottle, and a coat. Only one can save her life. Which should she choose? Think fast. The blanket is too thin, and the bottle has cold water in it, so it won't stop the chill. But the coat can protect her from the freezing wind and hypothermia. That's the right choice. Samuel has a secret date with his lover at a hotel. The only thing he knows is that she's somewhere on the 2nd floor, and her room number has 3 digits. But he's not sure which one. To keep anyone from finding out, she hid the room number inside their secret code. Can you figure it out? She's on the 2nd floor, so the room number must start with 2. The only 2 in the code is right here, followed by 5 and 6. That means her room is number 256. Dan and his wife are training for a marathon at the end of the month. Today was practice day. Dan left home at 1 p.m. His wife left half an hour later, and she runs twice as fast as he does. Yet, she never catches up. How is that possible? They're married, but they don't live in the same house. In fact, they were running in completely different cities. So of course, she was never going to catch up. And that's it for today's Mystery Marathon. So how many riddles did you get right? Tell us in the comments and challenge your friends to see if they can beat your score.
Okay, get your brain going. Here we go. Andrew found his dream job, and all he has to do to get it is to solve one final riddle at the interview. There are 4 coins in 2 wallets, and one wallet has twice as many coins as the other. How is that possible? I hope you manage to solve the riddle and help Andrew. The solution is simple. One wallet is inside the other. One has 2 coins, the other has 4. Emma and Lily are drawing together. One is drawing a flower, the other a tree. Try to figure out what Emma is drawing if Lily is not drawing a flower. Lily is not drawing a flower, so Lily is drawing a tree, which means Emma is drawing a flower. A biologist named James discovered an amazing kind of amoeba. Each one divides into 2 every minute. James puts one amoeba into a test tube, and after 1 hour, the entire tube is full of amoebas. How long would it take to fill the test tube if James placed 2 amoebas in it at the start instead of 1? "59 minutes. Since each amoeba doubles every minute, the test tube would be full 1 minute earlier. 3 women are sitting in a prison cell. They all claim to be there by mistake and insist they let them out. But only one girl is actually innocent. Which one? It's the girl in the dirty clothes. Despite her appearance, her shoes are perfectly clean, which means she didn't run, fight, or resist. The pregnant woman has a tattoo on her wrist that says G-A-N-G, and the bride's dress is clearly stitched from prison bedsheets. There are 5 sisters in a room. Emma is knitting, Sophia is drawing, Olivia is playing chess, Ava is singing. So, what's the 5th sister doing? Easy peasy. Olivia needs a partner to play chess, so they are playing together. A wealthy man lives alone in a small cottage. Since he is partially disabled, he relies on deliveries. On Thursday, the mailman brought a letter and noticed that the man was gone. He called the police. The clues they found helped them name a suspect for the disappearance. Who is it? The mailman. There were no newspapers from Tuesday or Wednesday at the door, which means the mailman already knew the man was no longer there and didn't deliver them. So he must have known about the disappearance before Thursday. Lucas was supposed to fly to Paris. He arrived at the airport, checked in his luggage, received his boarding pass, and went to the departure area. Half an hour later, boarding was announced, but Lucas never showed up. His name was called 3 times, but he didn't appear. What happened to Lucas? He got distracted and sat too long at the cafe, forgetting the time. Without his boarding pass, he couldn't board the plane and didn't even realize boarding had started. His suitcase flew, but he didn't. Right before the final soccer match, the team's goalkeeper went missing. The police arrived and they had 3 suspects from the rival team. Ben said he was taking selfies with his fans. Mike said he had broken his ankle and he was getting a massage. Rock said he was training at the gym before the match. The police immediately knew who did it. It was Mike. You don't get a massage when you break your ankle. A young couple is walking on the beach in a foreign country. They see a friendly man who invites them to visit his small private museum. It would only take 15 minutes. But they see something really suspicious and decide not to go. What did they see? There are many footprints going in, but none coming out of the house. Plus, it looks really creepy. Diana is a really beautiful girl and has many fans. She got tired of them and decided to make some money out of them. But she can't ask for money directly. So she decided to ask for jewelry and sell it to make money. After 4 deals, she's got both money and jewelry, so her fans don't suspect anything. How is it possible? She asked 4 of her fans for the same diamond necklace, sold 3 necklaces, and kept 1. Liza has a dog she loves a lot. One day, it just disappeared, and there are 3 suspects who could have done it. Liza's friend is really offended that she's a suspect and explains she's allergic to dogs. Liza's neighbor said he was out of town and just came back. The mailman explains he's afraid of dogs and wouldn't approach any of them. So, who's lying? Liza's friend is covered in dog hair and doesn't seem to have any allergy symptoms. She's hiding something. Reese is looking for love on a dating website. She likes 3 guys, but only one of them is telling the truth. Roger said he was an astronaut and had just come back from space. Mike said he was a scientist and went to the North Pole to study penguins. Nick said he was a helicopter pilot and broke the sound barrier. Who's not lying? Well, there are no penguins at the North Pole, and helicopters can't travel faster than the speed of sound. So Roger is telling the truth. Someone stole the most expensive ring from a jewelry store. The police suspect the shop assistant, the security, and the only visitor. The visitor explains he is just a taxi driver who brought 3 passengers to a nearby coffee shop. His car is outside. He came to the store to choose a gift for his girlfriend. The police don't trust him. Why? His car was a sports convertible with just 2 seats. The car wouldn't have fit 3 passengers. At a fancy party, someone snuck into the kitchen and added something to all the drinks. All but 2 guests got food poisoning. They didn't drink anything, and it looked suspicious. The first guy said he had to stay fresh for his morning marathon. The second guy explained he had a stomachache and didn't want to mix meds and drinks. So, who poisoned the drinks? It was the second guy. He has shoe covers on. He was wearing them not to leave footprints on the kitchen floor. Bob's girlfriend, Sam, loves riddles. One day, when she was away, Sam asked Bob to bring flowers to her relative, who is the daughter of the only son of her grandfather. Who is this mysterious relative Bob needs to visit? It turns out that it's Sam's sister. Laura is one final task away from passing a really important exam. Can you help her solve this equation? Find a set of 3 whole numbers, the sum of which will be the same as their total when multiplied. Well, these numbers are 1, 2, and 3. Harry plans to propose to his girlfriend, and he wants to choose the perfect moment in terms of weather. It's currently midnight and raining, but can he expect it to be sunny in 72 hours from now? Nope. In 72 hours, it's going to be night again, so definitely no sun for Harry. There's a barrel of water in the yard. Sandra looks inside and says it's more than half full, but her friend argues that it's less than half full. How can you figure out who is right without using any measuring tools or removing water from the barrel? Sandra must tilt the barrel so that the water touches its rim. If she can see the bottom, the barrel's less than half full. If the bottom is still covered with water, it's more than half full. A farmer has only goats, sheep, and horses on his farm. At the moment, they're all horses but 5, all goats but 4, and all sheep but 3. So how many of each animal does the farmer have? There are 3 sheep, 2 goats, and 1 horse on the farm. Altogether, there are 6 animals. So, did you get them all? Well done!
3 tourists entered an ancient pyramid and found a chamber with an inscription. "What does not honor the pharaoh shall remain here forever." They saw 3 buttons with the following symbols: the sun, a scarab, and an ankh. There was also a warning that only one button opens the passage, and the others trigger dangerous traps. One of the tourists immediately pressed the correct button. Which button was it, and why did they choose it? It was the ankh. In ancient Egypt, it symbolized life, so it's the most logical choice. A golden amulet went missing during an excavation. Anna claimed she spent the day photographing wall paintings. Jack said he'd been studying the treasure map inside the tent. And Lena said she had been sketching outdoors. But the tracks in the sand led from the tent to the pyramid and back, and those were deep, narrow footprints with small heels. Do you know who took the amulet? It was Lena. She was the only one outside, and the small-heeled footprints point to her. An archaeologist descended into a lost Mayan pyramid and discovered 3 ancient masks. Which mask should he choose to find the treasure and stay alive? He should pick the jade mask with the symbols of the storm god. The Mayans trusted him with their gold and secrets. As for the rest of the masks, the golden snake is a symbol of the underworld, and it can lure one to their demise. And the jaguar is associated with aggression and night hunting, so it can lead Nathan to danger. 3 archaeologists, Dr. Laura, Mr. Thomas, and Professor Blake, are exploring a lost Mayan temple. They discover 3 stone tablets with mysterious symbols and inscriptions. Dr. Laura chooses the mirror-shaped symbol. Mr. Thomas touches the carved serpent's eye. Professor Blake steps onto the stone with a crescent moon. Who is in danger? Professor Blake. He stepped on the moon symbol, which warns he won't return. Mr. Thomas awakens the curse, and only Dr. Laura chooses wisely. She unlocks the path to the treasure. Jack finds an ancient Mayan scroll with an engraved message. Where the sun bids farewell to the day, where the river coils like a snake, where moss always hides in the shade, there the pyramid's peak is hidden from view. Jack stands by the river with a dense forest in the north, rocky cliffs and the blazing sun in the south, a clear path in the east, and a river surrounded by trees in the west. Where should Jack go? West. That's where the sun bids farewell, or sets. The river curves like a snake, and the trees provide shade. Alex arrives at a remote jungle village, hoping to find the lost ruins of an ancient Mayan city. 3 people offer to guide him. A pretty woman wants $500. An old man with a donkey wants $50. A cheerful guy in a Hawaiian shirt promises to guide Alex for $300. Only one of these people is a true guide. Can you tell who? The real guide is the old man with the donkey. He asks for a reasonable price. He's not flashy or pushy, and he has a map and a means of transportation. Justin was an archaeologist who explored ancient pyramids. One day, something went wrong, and he ended up locked in a tiny room deep underground. There was only one other door in the room, but it was locked. To open it, the guy had to solve a riddle. After mulling it over for some time, Justin guessed what it meant. Can you? The answer is, try to understand. Once, something went wrong. Yep, again. And he got locked in a tiny room. To open the door, the guy had to solve a riddle and enter the correct 4-digit code. What code should Justin enter? Each digit of the code is the number of letters in the alphabet that stand between the letters in the riddle. So, the code is 5139. There are 3 doors in front of you, with snakes, scorpions, and scarabs behind each of them respectively. You need to choose the safest one. Hopefully you know that scarabs are harmless, so you should pick the 3rd door. One day, Julia fell asleep in the park. She woke up in a strange room with 3 doors. There were random objects lying around: bricks, empty bottles, ropes, and even a barrel. There was also a note on the wall. Behind one of these doors, there's a staircase that leads to freedom. You don't want to know what's lurking behind the other 2 doors. Julia got really frightened, but she managed to get out soon. What did she do? She dragged the barrel toward each of the doors, climbed on it, and checked whether the staircase was there. Once she spotted it, she was free. Look at these people attentively. Who do you think is in greater danger? The lion won't necessarily attack the man, of course, if he doesn't provoke the animal. If the guy tries his best to look unthreatening, the lion might simply ignore him. But the snake can easily tighten its grip, which can end very badly for this girl. Mr. Smart's wife went missing. A detective came to investigate this case. Mr. Smart told her that the last time he'd seen his wife had been in the morning, she was having breakfast. When he returned home at 6 p.m., her breakfast was still on the table, but she had disappeared. After hearing the man's story, the detective immediately arrested Mr. Smart. Why did he do so? When the detective arrived at the Smart's house, the breakfast on the table was still steaming. This means Mr. Smart had set up the scene right before he called the police. Do you see anything suspicious in this room? I'll help you. One object is haunted. A small hint: pay attention to those balloons left after a small party. Have you noticed that the red balloon has a pin in it? But strangely, even pierced, the balloon remains intact, and the air is still inside. It must be the haunted object. Look at these elderly ladies. Both of them have gone out for a walk. At first glance, they seem totally normal, but one of them is actually planning something bad. Can you figure out which granny it is? It's the granny on the right. She's got a file hidden in her knitting basket. A renowned chemist disappeared right from his lab. There was no evidence except a piece of paper lying on his desk. It had the names of 5 elements: nickel, carbon, oxygen, lanthanum, and sulfur. The guard reported that 3 people had visited the chemist that day: his sister Laura, his colleague Nicholas, and his wife Tessa. The criminal was arrested immediately. Who was it? The list of chemicals is a clue. Their abbreviations spell out the name Nicholas. Once, an expedition set up camp in the middle of a desert. They decided to spend a few days in that place. But when they woke up, their truck had disappeared. Luckily, they had enough food to last a week, but no power and little water. 3 days later, one of the members of the expedition disappeared. The leader of the team questioned the remaining people. Logan said he'd been walking around the camp trying to find water. Joanna said she'd been playing games on her smartphone. Samantha claimed she'd been sleeping all day long to save energy. And Nick said he'd been preparing a report in his tent. Can you figure out who's lying? Joanna isn't telling the truth. Within 3 days, her phone would have already run out of battery. And the expedition doesn't have any power, remember?
Oh.
James was walking near the river in the evening when a group of people dressed in black and wearing masks grabbed him. The leader told James that he had 3 options. They could throw him into the sea with hungry piranhas. He could choose to get dumped into the ocean swarming with sharks, or he could opt for a river with hippos. What option should James pick to survive? Piranhas only live in fresh water. The guy should pick the sea with piranhas.
Yeah!
Ah, look at the groom. It seems he might not live long enough to become a husband.
Oh no!
One of these ladies has bitten him. Which one was it? It was Lady C. Look at her ears. She doesn't seem to be human.
Oh!
Look at these 2 pictures and try to figure out who is the robot here. Despite their unusual tattoos, the girls are humans. The robot is actually the cat in the picture on the right. Have you noticed that it's charging through a USB port on its side?
Oh.
Students knew they would have an exam on Monday, but their professor refused to tell them the exact time. Every time they asked, they got a weird reply. If 11 plus 2 equals 1, 10 plus 6 equals 4. If you manage to figure out the answer, you won't miss the exam. Do you know when the students should meet with their professor? At 4 p.m. 11 o'clock plus 2 hours is 1 p.m. Then 10 o'clock and 6 hours is 4 p.m.
Oh.
Look at these seemingly wealthy women. In reality, one of them is just pretending to be rich. Which one is it? It's the lady on the left. Her bag is fake. The label claims it's Goosey when it's supposed to be Gucci.
Oh my god.
Mark is locked in a room. There are 4 doors there. The guy has entered through one of them and he can't use it again. The first door leads to the room with high voltage wires hanging above the wet floor. Behind the second door, there's a water-filled room swarming with sharks. And the third door hides a room where acid flesh-melting rain is falling from the ceiling. Which door is the least dangerous and can give Mark a chance to escape? Mark should opt for the first door. It'll be safe if Mark doesn't let his body come into contact with the wires and the wet floor at the same time. Now, try to crack this tricky riddle. It's nothing but holes tied to other holes. At the same time, this thing is as strong as steel but not as stiff as a pole. So what's your idea? What is it? It's a chain. Two people were born at the exact same time but have different birth dates. How is it even possible? These people were born in different time zones in different places in the world. Now you have to think outside the box to crack this one. 1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters, the word 3 has 5, and the word 5 consists of 4 letters. But the word 4 has 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4. And the game will end there. Mira inherited an old house from her granddad. When she was exploring the cellar, she came across a massive wooden door. She opened it and saw a small room with 3 bags and a note. One of the bags has $1 million and the others are empty. You can only open one bag, so think carefully.
Oh god.
Mira also noticed there was a message on each bag. The first bag claimed, "The cash is not here." The message on the second bag was, "The cash is not here." And the third bag said, "The cash is in the second bag." If only one message is true, which bag has the money? The money can't be in the second or third bags. If it was so, then 2 messages would be true. It means the money is in the first bag. William took part in a game show and ended up as one of the 2 contestants to make it to the finals. He came up to the table with 3 cups on it, but only one of these drinks was safe to try. The other 2 were poisoned, and even though a mistake wouldn't cost William his life, the consequences would be unpleasant. The drinks were tea with sugar, cappuccino, and hot chocolate. Which one should William choose? If it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have already melted completely. But it didn't happen. Cappuccino looks suspiciously green. It's probably unsafe to drink. William opted for the hot chocolate and won the challenge. Look at these people walking along the sea attentively. One of them isn't human. Who is it? It's the young guy in the middle. He has no shadow. Creepy. When you look for something, you always find it in the last place where you search. Why is that? It's always the last place where you look, because after this, you stop your search. One of these ladies is a sporty man's wife. How long will it take you to guess which one it is? It's the girl who doesn't have a helmet, because her helmet is waiting for her on her husband's bike. All of these people seem to be terribly sick. Oh, I see. It's the maid. She's poisoned them. But what if I tell you that one of these people is actually faking poisoning, trying to save their life? Can you figure out who it is?
Oh my god!
It's the woman on the left wearing a red dress. She hasn't even touched her drink. Look at these ladies very attentively. One of them has stolen a watermelon. Can you understand which one it is? It's the woman on the right. The watermelon is actually peeking through her clothes. You're walking through a forest when you see a big lake. In the middle of the lake, you notice 3 cages floating on the surface. Inside, there are 3 people. Adam's cage is blocked by a huge chunk of ice. Luke's cage is locked with a massive padlock. And on top of Helen's cage, there's a container with boiling water. You can help only one of them. Who should you pick? You should choose to help Luke. The ice blocking Adam's cage will melt sooner or later, the boiling water will evaporate, and Helen will be able to escape, but Luke won't get out of the cage on his own.
Help!
2 identical vans were crossing the bridge when it collapsed. The cars fell into the water and started to sink. Luckily, the drivers were unharmed, but they had to figure out how to get to the surface really fast because the vans started to fill with water. One of the drivers began to push the closest door, and the other tried to open the side door. Who has a higher chance of survival?
Help!
The first driver won't be able to open the door because of the water pressure, but the side door in the second car is a sliding door. With some effort, the second driver will be able to open it and escape. A billionaire called Mr. Van Louis realizes he's living his last days. He decides to leave all his huge fortune to someone. After thinking it over, he's left with 7 candidates. Each person is different from the others. Each has their own motives and merits, and each and every one of them has some hidden secrets. Before making the final decision, Mr. Louis decides to listen to the candidates' life stories to figure out who truly deserves the inheritance. But keep in mind that not everything is as it seems, and sometimes it's the loveliest people who hide the darkest secrets. But before we eavesdrop on the conversations the billionaire is having with his nearest and dearest, let's sneak a peek at the characters and life stories of these people. The first on the list is 40-year-old Alex, Van's eldest son. At first sight, he's a successful businessman, just like his father. Since childhood, he's always been trying to please Mr. Louis, and now he's sick and tired of his image of a good son. It might be the reason why his business is in deep crisis, and the situation is so bad that the word bankruptcy has already been whispered. But is Alex desperate enough to do something unforgivable? We'll see. Maria is 35 years old. She's the middle daughter and a talented artist. Unlike her elder brother, she's always been independent, which caused a rift between her and Alex. But even though she looks cheerful and carefree, she's in debt and currently experiences too much drama in her life. She hopes that the inheritance can help her fix her career and recover from a financial setback. John, Mr. Louis' 33-year-old youngest son, is disabled. But despite the limitations of his own body, he's a doctor, and a good one at that. He is devoted to his profession and spends most of his time in hospital helping people. Van has known his best friend, Helen, since they were kids. Helen is 65 years old, and she's been with him through many ups and downs. At the moment, she's working as a volunteer, helping those in need. She hopes she'll get the inheritance. She's always speaking of opening her own shelter for homeless animals. Peter, who is 50 years old, is Van's trusted business partner and confidant, who has always helped Mr. Louis in all his endeavors. Peter seems to be dedicated to his work, and it might even be true. But his true intention is to take over Van's company after the man passes away. Is Peter eager enough to speed up this process? We'll see, I guess. Anna is 28 years old, and she's Mr. Louis' housemaid. She's been working for him since she was 20 and has earned a reputation of a modest and hard-working young woman. Anna has got a small son, and she dreams that he will study in the best college in the country. That inheritance could come in handy. And finally, we've got Max, Mr. Louis' bodyguard, who is 37 years old. Even though he's extremely charming, Max seems to be the black sheep, since he spent 7 years in jail when he was younger. No one but Mr. Louis knows the real depth of his crimes. Max seems to regret his past and does everything to make amends. Now, let's sneak into the billionaire's bedroom, where he speaks to all these people in turn. When Alex enters, his father doesn't waste a second.
I know about the problems with business you're experiencing. I don't think leaving you all my money will save the day.
Alex objects. I must admit that my company is nearing bankruptcy, but what you don't know is I have my own charity fund, which needs a lot of funding. I really need this money to keep helping people. Maria carefully enters her father's bedroom and greets him. She says,
Dad, I'm so sorry I haven't been by your side recently.
The billionaire remarks,
Yes, I know you've been very busy with your social life.
It's not that. I opened a school for young artists and was busy there.
Is this explanation enough to excuse a daughter neglecting her father? We'll see. John slowly and clumsily enters his father's room. He heavily sits in the chair near Van's bed.
Dad, I'm so sorry to hear about your state. If only I could help you.
Mr. Louis interrupts him.
Even if you could, you wouldn't, because you're the reason for my condition.
John is terribly shocked.
What are you talking about?
Don't play innocent. Now I know you've been poisoning me for years. You've got access to rare medicines and you use it to your advantage.
Exasperated, Van Louis invites the next visitor. Helen enters with a sad expression on her face.
My dearest friend, I'm so sorry to see you like this. I'm also sorry I didn't visit. I was busy at the volunteer center.
But the billionaire doesn't seem to be happy to see her.
Do you think I don't know about your gambling addiction? I know what you want to spend my money on after I pass away. Definitely not on an animal shelter.
After all that shouting, Peter feels nervous. He suspects that Van knows about his plans and dishonest schemes. And he's right. But what he hears next makes him freeze.
Peter, my loyal partner. I know you wanted to lay your hands on my business, but I also know that recently you've abandoned this idea. I'm aware of all those cases in which you negotiated with our clients to save the company and its reputation. I know that you spent your own money to solve the issues my business had. Thank you.
When Anna enters the room, Mr. Louis smiles kindly.
How is your son? I know you're dreaming of getting that inheritance to help your kid. I also bet you want to lead a luxurious lifestyle and drive an expensive car. But you must understand that I have my own children and I need to take care of them.
Anna exclaims.
Of course, I understand, Mr. Louis. I don't need all those riches. My only wish is for you to get better.
Eventually, Max comes to talk to Van.
Hey, Mr. Louis, I feel so bad about your condition. How can I help you? You've helped me enough, Max. You have literally saved my life countless times in drastic situations. But now, you can be sure that I won't reveal your secrets. I'll take them with me to the grave.
After talking to each of the candidates, Mr. Louis was left deep in thought. Should he leave his money to his eldest son, whose life was dedicated to pleasing his father? Should his daughter get the inheritance? Despite her image, she's actually bringing a lot of good to this world. Should Van forgive his youngest son, or should he report him to the police? Should he help Helen? After all, despite all her flaws, she's his oldest friend. Should he reward Peter, or should he help Anna ensure a bright future for her kid? Maybe he should show Max how much he appreciates his loyalty. The billionaire is at a loss. He drinks his medicinal tea and finally comes to a conclusion. He slowly and with great difficulty gets up from his bed and shuffles to the door. He opens it and sees 7 people. All of them are waiting for his verdict. So, what do you think? Who will Mr. Louis leave all his money to? Think twice, or maybe even thrice, since there are many worthy candidates. And now, get ready for the great reveal. Van Louis decides to leave all his inheritance to Anna. All because the billionaire is actually the father of Anna's son. Now the little guy and his mom don't need to worry. The kid will get the best education. A bright future awaits him. What Mr. Van Louis doesn't know, though, is that the boy's father is actually Max, the charming ex-criminal who stole Anna's heart many years ago.
All right, without tilting your head or turning the screen upside down, try to figure out what's wrong with this picture. The woman's mouth is upside down, see? Now look at these hands. Which is the odd one out? The answer is hand number 2. It's the odd one out because it's a left hand. All the other hands are right hands. Look at these prisoners carefully. Which of them will escape from jail? It's the vampire who's going to escape from jail. Do you see that the window of his cell is open? Well, most vampires have the ability to transform into bats. He can do it too and fly away through the window. Now, how about these women? We can see that the lady on the left is visibly upset. She also has red stains on her dress. The girl in the middle, she seems to be a bride, is calm, but she has a slit in her dress. The woman on the right is angry and has something red on her hands. Can you figure out which of these ladies is dangerous? It's that bride in the middle. You can spot a knife hidden under her dress. Can you move only 2 matchsticks to take the bee out of the glass? But you need to keep the glass shape. To solve this match puzzle, You have to turn the glass upside down or make it inverted. Move the only horizontal match either left or right so that only its end touches the bottom vertical match. Then take one of the top vertical matches and move it down to make the other side of the glass. Now, you need to move only 2 matchsticks to make the biggest number possible. The highest number you can make by moving only 2 matches is 781. Take the middle and bottom horizontal matches from the number 3. Using them, you can make a 1 next to the 8. Look at this picture carefully. What's wrong with it? The cord for the electric hairdryer is missing. A bit of the cord can be seen behind the hairdresser, but then it disappears. I am round, I am sharp, I am small, I am big. I exist, then I don't. What am I? It's the moon. It's round when it's full, it's sharp when it's a crescent, its size can vary depending on its phase, and it's gone when it's a new moon. You are driving a car. On your right, there's a steep cliff. Right in front of you, there's a horse. And right behind you, there's an elephant. Both of these animals travel at your own speed. On your left, there's a fire truck blocking you. How can you stop your car? Just ask the merry-go-round operator to stop. Mr. Brown's wife had gone missing. A detective came to investigate this case. Mr. Brown told him that the last time he had seen his wife had been in the morning. She was having breakfast then. When Mr. Brown returned home at 6 p.m., her breakfast was still on the table, but she had disappeared. After these words, the detective immediately arrested Mr. Brown. Why did he do so? When the detective arrived at the Browns' house, the breakfast was still steaming. This means that Mr. Brown had set up the scene right before he called the police. A man was trapped in a dark room. His only source of light was a candle. There were 3 doors leading out of the room. Behind one of them, there was a tunnel that could lead him outside. Behind the other 2 doors, there was just a concrete wall. The man had a key that could open any of the doors, but he could only use it once. Still, the man managed to escape. How did he do this? He brought the candle to each of the keyholes in turn. Near the door with the tunnel, the flames started to dance. There were 2 trains heading towards each other. They were going along the same track, and it was 7 o'clock on the same day. And still, the trains didn't crash. How is it possible? One of the trains was moving at 7 a.m. and the other at 7 p.m. Carl and his wife Olivia had dinner. They ate the same dishes: French fries, some fish, and vegetable salad. Half an hour later, Carl felt unwell and called the ambulance. It turned out that the man had been poisoned. But he and his wife ate the same dishes, and Olivia was perfectly fine. The next day, the police arrested the woman for trying to poison her husband. How come? Olivia made all the dishes not salty enough and put poison in the salt shaker. Ooh. Something went wrong in a super-secret laboratory. Scientists ended up locked in one room with the vicious monsters. One of the researchers managed to figure out how they could get out of this dire situation. But the substance they needed was in another part of the laboratory. The scientists could get there through one of 3 corridors. The first was guarded by fire-breathing crocodiles. The second corridor was filled with meat-eating sunflowers with extra sharp teeth. Whoa! And the third passage was swarming with venomous bees. Which one should the scientists choose? They should opt for the corridor with the sunflowers. Those are plants, and however scary they are, they can't move. 3 expensive watches have been stolen from Mr. Brown's store this year. The police can't help the poor man. He decides to hire a private detective. When Laura arrives, she immediately asks for the CCTV footage from January to December. After watching it, she tells the store owner who the thief is. What has she noticed in the video? The same guy came to the store several times, in April, August, and November, and every time he has a cast on his arm, but no broken bone would need 8 months to heal. David moved to a new town. The place was so small there were just 2 dentists there. One day David woke up with a toothache. He needed a dentist, and fast. The first dentist had fairly old equipment, and his teeth were kind of bad. The second dentist had a spotless office with the newest equipment and a Hollywood smile. Which professional should he opt for? David should go to the one with bad teeth. You see, dentists can't treat their own teeth. So the first dentist must have looked after the teeth of the second one. Ooh, great job. One afternoon, all the money was stolen from the register of the small cafe on the beach. The police have 5 suspects. All of them claim they hadn't been to the cafe in the past hour. Look at them carefully and try to find out who the thief is. It's the guy with a cocktail in his hand. He definitely bought it in the cafe. But then, why did he lie about not visiting the place?
Hey, dear detective. It's time you apply your skills to solve the toughest brain teasers we've got. Look at these hands. All of them seem to belong to wealthy people. But it's just an illusion. Your first case is to figure out which person is indeed rich. Have you noticed the brand names on the accessories on the left and the right hands are misspelled? These luxury items must be fake. As for the hand in the middle, it's decorated with a real gold bracelet. It most likely belongs to a rich person. Now, look at these travelers and their bags very attentively. Can you spot a smuggler? Why would a blind person need a flashlight in his luggage? That's suspicious. He must be the criminal we're looking for. Which of these people is poor? Pay attention to the guy with an iPhone. The apple on the back is whole, which means the phone is fake. How about these people? Who is richer? The man on the left looks like a rich businessman. but he might be pretending. At the same time, the guy with green hair looks very casual. But he's holding a brand new laptop and expensive headphones. He's likely to be richer. Can you figure out which of these athletes is poor? It must be the blonde guy who's wearing a fake Adidas shirt. Or should I say, a Bebas. You wake up in a room with 3 doors. Suddenly, someone starts knocking on each of them. You come up to each door in turn and sneak a peek through the peephole. Behind each door, there's a police officer. Do you know which door is safe to open? You can open the 3rd door without any worries. The first man doesn't show his badge and has a knife tucked under his belt. The second man has weird stars on his uniform. As for the 3rd police officer, he is the only one with identical stars on his hat and badge without any hidden weapon. He's your safest option. These people look homeless, but one of them isn't poor. Who is it? Look at the guy with a cart. He's got car keys. Now this task is tough. Which of these ladies doesn't have a lot of money? Think twice before answering. The lady in pink buys only those clothes that are on sale. She might be poor. Doris was having a beach vacation with her friend Teresa. One morning, the young women were sunbathing near the water. Teresa went to a cafe to get some lemonade while Doris went swimming. When she came back, she saw that her smartphone, which she had left on her beach towel, was gone. She asked a man sunbathing nearby if he had seen her smartphone. He answered that he'd been sleeping the whole time. At this moment, Teresa came back with the lemonade. She looked around and immediately understood where Doris's phone was. Who took it? It was the neighbor. Before the accident, the spade was lying on his left. Now it's on the right. There's also a suspicious pile of sand near the spade now. The man must have hidden the phone in the sand, hoping to dig it out later. Look at these guys attentively. One of them is not living alone. Who is it? The man on the right. He's got 2 toothbrushes. Joe had a friend, Randy, who never answered questions directly. Once, Joe sent Randy a message inviting him to join their common friends in a cafe. Randy's answer was kinda weird. Sorry, no money, job and job. Luckily, Joe knew his friend well enough to understand what he meant. But can you figure it out? Randy meant he had no money because he was in between jobs. Terry invited his friend Alice, who was studying to become a police officer, to a party. It was organized by his friend Sean. Terry was worried that there could be a thief at this party. Throughout the event, Alice was watching the guests attentively. At the end of the party, she told Terry who the thief was. Have you figured it out? It's the host, Sean. At the beginning of the party, one of the guests had a watch on his wrist, and this woman had a beautiful necklace. But at the end of the party, the watch was already on Sean's wrist, and the necklace was in the flower pot. The police were informed that one of the most wanted criminals, Carl Walker, was going to arrive in the country. According to this information, the man was going to come by plane. Unfortunately, the police knew very little about him. He was short, wearing glasses, and traveling under a false name. Detective Adams went to the airport. He detained 4 people who fit the description. They were Mr. Lewis, Mr. Relkoff, Mr. Taylor, and Mr. Wilson. Can you figure out who the criminal is? It's Mr. Relkoff. His last name is actually the criminal's last name, Walker, but with its letters mixed. Austin, a rich businessman, brought very important documents to his office. But he had a meeting and needed to leave for several hours. Austin asked his secretary to be super attentive. His competitors could try to break into his office to look at the documents. When he came back, his secretary told him everything had been quiet. But when the man looked around, he realized someone had been inside his office. The secretary eventually admitted having fallen asleep while Austin was away. How did the businessman understand someone had visited his office? The globe on his desk is now turned in the opposite direction. You're trapped in a room with no doors or windows. All of a sudden, the room starts filling with water. You check everywhere but can't find any way to turn it off. You know that help is on the way, but it's still at least 5 minutes until their arrival. You only have 2 minutes. After that, the entire room will be flooded. Obviously, you can't hold your breath for 3 minutes. You've got 3 objects, but only one of them can save your life. What should you choose? A straw, a rope, or an empty bucket? You should opt for the bucket. Put it on your head. This will create an air pocket, and you'll be able to breathe for a couple of minutes until help arrives. Carter had a fast and successfully developing company until his main investor went bankrupt. Upset, Carter went to visit his best friend Justin, who was a coffee shop owner. Justin told him that a rich businessman visited his cafe almost every day. He was there that day too. The man was very secretive and didn't have any social media accounts. Justin told Carter to go and introduce himself and pointed towards the back of the coffee shop. The guy went there and saw 3 men, but he didn't ask his friend which one was the wealthy entrepreneur. He looked at the men attentively. Can you figure out which one he needs? It isn't the guy in the middle. He has a dollar store bag. The one on the right could be rich, but he's recording an Instagram story. And the businessman isn't active on any social media. This means the man Carter needs is on the left. 3 friends agreed to hang out together on a Friday night. One of them, Brian, was tasked with bringing pizza. But the guy was running extremely late. His friends were starving. Strangely, Brian wasn't picking up their calls. But in an hour or so, he sent them a selfie. In the photo, he was standing next to his car. In the following message, he wrote he had run out of gas. He was at a gas station filling up his car. But his friends didn't believe Brian's excuses. Why? In the picture, it's clearly seen that the guy has an electric car. It doesn't need gas.
Take a look at these 3 teachers in the school canteen. One of them is a vampire. Can you guess who it is? Check out carefully what they eat. The third lady has some garlic, so she can't be a vampire. The second lady has taken a bite of food from her tray, so it's most likely hers. But the first guy's food is still untouched, so he must be just bringing it to someone else. Vampires don't really need food. They feed on blood. so that salad is of no interest to him. The Smiths family, Ginger, Ross, and their kids Polly and Bob, had a celebration and exchanged gifts. But somehow, all the cards got lost. And since all the gifts were packed in boxes of the same size, the only thing that differs is color. Can you figure out to whom each gift belongs? Ginger, the mother, must get the gifts in green wrapping paper because her name starts with a G. Ross, the father, gets the gifts wrapped in red paper. Polly, the daughter, gets all the pink ones. And Bob, the son, has all the blue gifts, following the same logic. On a winter day, Mike went skiing. Suddenly, he found a secret laboratory hidden in the mountains. It was well guarded, but curious Mike managed to find an open door. Once he got inside, the door got instantly shut and wouldn't open again. There in the lab, Mike saw 3 large barrels, each with different stuff inside. The first barrel was literally on fire. The second one was full of acid, and there was a working electric saw in the third one. All of a sudden, Mike heard a voice. Each of the barrels contains a key that can set you free, but you aren't allowed to move the barrels. Good luck! What did Mike do to escape? Hey, it seems like this lab wasn't well heated. There were a bunch of icicles on the ceiling, so he grabbed them and threw them into the burning barrel. They melted and extinguished the fire, allowing him to grab the key. Lame Horse is the most popular club in town, and lots of people hope to get inside. However, security guards are pretty strict, and all visitors must comply with a set of requirements issued by the club management. Visitors must be over 25. They must wear a total black look, and their name cannot start with an A. Now, look at these 3 people waiting at the entrance, who cannot be let in. Well, look at their IDs closely. We have Ivory, who's 27. She's also dressed according to the rules. Now, here's James. He's 24, and he's wearing a red t-shirt. Out. The last person is Dylan. He's got a total black look, and it seems like he's 30. But his ID is surely fake. How can someone be born on February 31st? So, only Ivory can enter the club. Josh wanted to surprise his girlfriend and buy her a present of her dreams. But he wanted to make it a surprise, so he couldn't ask her what exactly she wanted. He decided to check out her favorites on a website she always used for online shopping. But her laptop asked for a password. Still, Josh managed to unlock it. How did he do it? Look at the sticker on the desk. It looks like a bunch of misspelled words. But each typo actually helps figure out the password. O in laundry, extra I in table, extra I in mice, V in the word answer, and extra E in the word cat. Altogether, it's olive. Chastity, Chris, and Jacob are at the counter near an airport gate. All of them claim they must be on the flight to Houston. But the airline employee says there's only 1 seat left. The computer has frozen, and he can't check the list of passengers to verify their claims. So he can only check their boarding passes and try to understand which one is real. Can you help him? The only real boarding pass belongs to Chastity. Look, the one that Chris has mentions his date of birth. which is never printed on boarding passes. The one that Jacob has doesn't have the flight number, which is almost impossible. Well, welcome aboard, Chastity. Liam was traveling on a train where he met Brian. Now, Brian invited him to have coffee in the dining car, and Liam agreed. For some reason, Liam left the train in terror at the next station without taking his belongings, even though it wasn't his destination. Why? The thing is, on the way to the dining car, Liam spotted something he couldn't see while seated. There was a huge tail visible underneath Brian's coat. He couldn't be a human, and having coffee with him could cost Liam his life. Ew. Ashley decided to change her hairstyle and headed to the nearest hair salon. There were 3 hairdressers available. Which one is safe? Look, the first hairdresser has just finished working with the previous client, and the client is literally crying. The hairstyle is horrendous. The second hairdresser has knives instead of special scissors. She doesn't seem to be safe either. However, the third hairdresser seems completely fine. So, Ashley should pick her. Mary is a beginner gardener. She decided to grow some flowers in her garden, and there are already several sprouts. Yesterday, she watered them as usual, but today she sees that all of her sprouts have perished. Why? Mary should have checked the weather forecast. Yesterday, the sky was covered with gray clouds. It was going to rain. So the flowers got a double portion of water, which is bad too. Mary should have covered her plants instead. It was Jenny's first month at her new school. At the end of the month, she found a note from Barry in her locker. At first, she didn't get its meaning, but when she figured out that it was encrypted, the meaning became clear to her. Take a look at the note. Can you figure out what Barry wrote to Jenny? To decipher the note, you need to understand that the numbers correspond to the placement of the letters in the note. The first letter is I, the second is L, and the 8th is K. Now keep doing this until you decipher the whole thing. The note says, I like you. It looks like Jenny has an admirer. Martha is standing on one side of a river and her cat is on the other. Martha is calling her cat, but you know, those guys aren't into water and swimming in general. However, the cat immediately starts crossing the river without getting wet. There are no boats or bridges. How is it possible? The river is frozen, so the cat can just walk on the ice. In 1890, Bart was 15 years old. Strangely, in 1895, he was 10 years old. How is that possible? The thing is, Bart was born in 1905 BCE. The calendar worked the other way around back then. Linda and Porter were walking in the woods when they saw an old hut. They walked inside, but the door through which they entered suddenly vanished into thin air. Instead, 3 new doors appeared in front of them. Behind the first one, there were venomous rats. Behind the second door, arrows with poison on their tips were flying across the room at head height. And the third door hid a 30-foot deep pit. Which door leads to freedom? They should choose the second door. They don't need to walk, they can simply crawl under the arrows. Pamela met a stranger yesterday, and she immediately knew who he was. She hadn't seen this person before, and no one had ever described him to Pamela. This person wasn't a celebrity, and he wasn't doing anything unusual. How come she knew who he was? The man was Pamela's friend's twin brother. Anna went grocery shopping and bought a lot of products that needed to be stored in the fridge, like meat and cheese. When she returned home, she realized that her fridge was already full, and she had nowhere to store all those products. What should she do? Anna needs to reconsider the way she stores stuff in her fridge. For example, rice and cookies don't need to be kept there. Once she takes all the unnecessary stuff out of the fridge, she'll have enough space to store the dairy products and meat.
Mason is moving to a new town. On the way, he makes a stop at the local gas station. He wants to pay for gas and snacks, but his red leather wallet is missing. Mason interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Ashley says that she didn't touch Mason's stuff. Both of her hands were full of sandwiches. Lily says she was taking selfies for her social media. And the cashier, Xavier, said that he didn't notice any red wallets. Mason knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Take a look at Ashley's sandwiches. She hid Mason's wallet between 2 pieces of bread. Mason exposes the thief and continues on his journey. He gets hungry and goes to a diner. But immediately, Mason feels something off about this place. Something's completely wrong with one of these 3 waiters. Which one? The lady on the left has wolf teeth, and she doesn't wear any badge on her uniform, so it makes sense to stay away from her. Mason arrives at the town late at night. He parks his car and looks around. Suddenly, Mason notices an unconscious lady on the ground. He calls the police and an ambulance. They arrive very quickly. Meanwhile, the lady comes to her senses, but she finds out that all her money is missing. The police have 3 suspects, Mason and 2 other pedestrians, Noah and Mike. Who's the thief? Take a look at the ground. There are 2 types of footsteps leading to the place where the lady is lying. One of them belongs to her, and the other one was left by Mason. There are 2 parallel straight lines left by a wheelchair. So the thief must be Mike.
Oh no!
The next day, Mason meets his neighbors.
Hello.
It's an elderly couple, Ralph and Glenda. They have just finished building a fancy new house. The house looks beautiful, and they invite their 3 grandchildren over to have a look at their work. It takes 1 day for one guy and 2 girls to break several windows, knock down the fence, remove the decorations, and ruin the roof. But the retired couple doesn't mind. They just smile looking at the teenagers. Can you figure out why? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to enjoy it. Dinner time. Mason enters a local restaurant. 2 tables are occupied, but this is not a regular boring restaurant. One of these families belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at the second family. The daughter holds a teddy bear that's stuffed with dollars. Mason decides to go to another place instead. He takes a look at these 2 tables and spots the mafia family right away. What about you? It's the first family. The father has a red laser dot at the level of his heart. A sniper is aiming at him. Mason switches restaurants again. 2 tables are occupied by innocent-looking families. Yet again, one of these groups belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a look at the second table. The father is hiding a gold bar in his menu.
Oh.
The next morning, Mason goes to check out the local pool. Can you spot an undercover cop among these people? This guy has a suspicious earphone in his ear. Why would he need it while swimming? Mason is terrible at packing. Today, he's going camping in the forest. Can you help him pack his stuff? Take a look at his bag and spot all the useless items. Oh, look! He has an electric hairdryer, but there's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Mason and his friend Bennett go hiking in the local forest. On the way, they meet 2 ladies, Anna and Alice. They hang out together and both guys fall in love with Anna. They want to take her on a date. So the guys secretly ask Alice which of them Anna likes more. Alice doesn't want to share her bestie's secrets, but she gives the guys a hint. Anna loves pizza, but she can't stand burgers. She likes to go to the pool, but she never goes to the gym. Her favorite animal is the llama, but she's afraid of zebras. Which one of these guys does Anna like? Alice wanted to give the guys a clue, so we have to look for some patterns in her words. All the things Anna likes have double letters. Bennett has 2 double letters in his name, so he must be Anna's crush. The guys keep on hiking. Suddenly, they see a beautiful large apple tree growing on a cliff. If a powerful wind blows towards the land, where will the apples fall? In any case, they'll fall down. Alice needs to leave for the city, but Mason, Bennett, and Anna decide to spend the night in the wild. The next day, they wake up in a terrible trap. They're hanging upside down in the air with their legs tied. There's a bunch of venomous snakes on the ground under Mason. There's fire and hot coals under Anna, and dangerous scorpions are crawling under Bennett. How can the guys survive? Can you see that black cloud with lightning? It's gonna start raining soon. The rainwater will put out the fire under Anna. This lady has a knife, so she can cut the rope and then help the others.
Yes!
The guys escape, but they get lost in the forest. It gets dark. They're wandering around and come across a creepy cabin. It belongs to a witch. She says the guys must solve a riddle if they want to escape from her land. The witch writes a number. There are 2 special things about it. What are they? First, this number contains all existing digits. Second, they're put in alphabetical order.
Oh.
Mason and his friends return to the town. Meanwhile, someone robbed the local museum and stole the most valuable painting.
Oh no.
A detective investigates the crime scene and finds the thief right away. However, when asked to give it back, the criminal provides the police with 3 copies of the same painting. He refuses to tell which one is original. Can you find the real masterpiece? Each painting has a different frame, but only one of them is perfectly similar to the other frames hanging in the museum. And since this museum uses the same style of frames, this painting should be the original. Mason gets a new job in a small company. Only 4 people work with him. One day, Mason comes to the office and he doesn't find his favorite slippers. Mason always puts them on while working. He searches everywhere and finally spots them on the roof of the building. Mason is furious. He questions his coworkers. Bill says,
I don't even know where you keep your slippers.
Phil says,
I'm terrified of heights. I've never climbed up there.
Mara says,
I'm wearing high heels today. I can hardly walk in them.
and Ella says,
I respect you too much to prank you, sir.
one of them is lying. Who? It's Phil. He said he was afraid of heights, but take a look at the photo on his table. He's skydiving with a parachute. Liar. After work, Mason returns to his condo. He enters the elevator with 3 people. One of them is a police officer working undercover. Can you guess who? Take a look at this old lady's outfit. She has a tiny hidden video camera in her hat. Mason enters his apartment. Oh no! Someone broke the lock and stole his precious golden cup. Mason calls the police and they question 3 neighbors. George was painting his living room all day. He listened to loud music so he couldn't hear anything. Bella was walking with her boyfriend all day long. They've just returned home. And Aaron was sick, so he only went out once that day to take out his trash. He heard weird noises from Mason's apartment. Who's lying? George. His living room doesn't look freshly painted. A terrible virus broke free from a laboratory, and now all animals and plants on Earth are mutating at a horrifying speed. You've been trying to find the solution, but got trapped in the laboratory where it had all started instead. There are 3 doors you can escape through, but behind the first one, there's a bunch of aggressive flesh-eating cacti. The second door hides hundreds of poisonous bees. And the third door prevents an attack of fire-spitting dragon-like monsters. Which door can lead you to freedom? You can get out of there alive if you choose the first door. Even though the cacti eat flesh, they're still plants and can't move, so you can easily get around them. You've been kidnapped by an insane scientist who's going to test his new protective cream on you. After covering you with this lotion, he offers you to choose one of 3 containers where he'll then throw you. The first container is filled with radioactive waste. In the second container, there's an acid that can eat even through metal. And the third one is filled with lava from the largest volcano on Earth that erupted a year ago. Which container should you choose? Pick the container with lava. If the volcano erupted a year ago, the lava must be already solid. Jessica, Lauren, and Matthew met at a business conference. All of them presented themselves as wealthy, successful entrepreneurs. Look at these people's hands attentively and try to figure out which of them is a real millionaire. Matthew seems to be wearing a Versace watch. But look, the name of the brand is written incorrectly, so it's fake. Lauren is wearing tons of jewelry, but take a closer look. There are lots of scratches on her bracelets. It's not real gold. The accessories are simply gilded. So the real millionaire is Jessica with her Tiffany bracelet. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it, but there was a problem. They found not 1, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original, the others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All the frames in the museum are made in the same style. Now, take a good look at these prisoners. Which one is in no danger? Rats do bite humans and they can spread diseases. Bees can also be dangerous, especially if you're allergic to them. Meanwhile, toads don't pose any threat to humans, so the third prisoner is safe. Take a look at these prisoners. Who do you think is more likely to survive? Flames can cause serious injuries. And if the rope burns, the consequences will be terrible. So the first prisoner is definitely in danger. The second prisoner is forced to inhale toxic gases. It can't be good for his health. But the third prisoner can turn her body vertically, knock those sharp nails away with her feet, and clear her way to freedom. Look at this picture and try to understand what's wrong here. Pay attention to the smallest details. The school bus doesn't have a door. How about this image? Can you spot anything weird here? Look at the clock. It's 10:07. So it's too late both for sunrise and sunset. Then what is that glowing disc sitting low in the sky? Now, look at these animals on the screen. A cat, a camel, a cheetah, a chicken, a crocodile, and a pig. Which animal doesn't belong here? The pig is the odd one out. It's the only animal whose name doesn't start with the letter C. Mr. Carter, a rich man who collected antiques, asked Detective Morris to visit him. When the detective arrived, the collector said that he had just got a precious statuette. But he needed to go away on business for a week, and he was afraid someone would break into his house. The statuette was insured, but the man was still worried. Detective Morris had some other urgent things to do, but he promised to come back in the evening to figure out the solution. But when he arrived several hours later, Mr. Carter told him in despair that he had driven his sister to the doctor and had been away for an hour or so. But when he came back, the statuette was gone. Detective Morris didn't believe the collector. Why? When he left the house in the afternoon, he noticed an empty plastic bottle lying in front of the right part of the gate. Look, it's still there. But for a car to drive through, both parts of the gate have to be open. This means that Mr. Carter lied about leaving his home by car. A renowned chemist disappeared right from his lab. There was no evidence except a piece of paper lying on his desk. The names of 5 elements were scrawled across it hastily: nickel, carbon, oxygen, lanthanum, and sulfur. The guard reported that 3 people had visited the chemist that day: his sister, Laura, his colleague, Nicholas, and his wife, Tessa. The criminal was arrested immediately. Who was it? The list of chemicals is a clue. Their abbreviations spelled out the name Nicholas. Someone stole the principal's money. When the police came to investigate, they questioned the most likely suspects. The PE teacher said that he had had a break. The history teacher was having a lesson, and the music teacher said she had felt unwell and had gone home early. Can you figure out who the thief is? The music teacher is the thief.
Oh, no.
Look, she has gloves in her bag, although it's summer. Suspicious. Mr. White, a rich businessman, disappeared right from his bedroom, but he managed to leave a note. It read, the 1st of July, the 4th of January, the 1st of December, the 8th of February. The police questioned the people who had been in the house at that time. Judy, Mr. White's wife, said that she didn't know anything because she had been away visiting her parents. Logan, Mr. White's secretary, told the police he'd been working on the report for his boss and hadn't left his study. And Rose, Mr. White's daughter, answered that she had guests and they hadn't left her room. Who knows something about Mr. White's disappearance? The one behind Mr. White's disappearance is his wife. The 1st of July means the letter J, the 4th of January, U, the 1st of December, D, and the 8th of February, Y. Together, it's Judy. Rachel called the police early in the morning. When they arrived, she told the officers her story. She worked in a museum. The day before, she took home several ancient books because she wanted to do some research. But then a blackout happened. She lit a couple of candles and continued her work. Suddenly, she heard the doorbell ring. When she opened the door, someone in a black mask hit her on the head. When she recovered, the books had been gone. The detectives arrested the woman for misreporting. Why? If there had been a blackout, the doorbell wouldn't have been working. Private Detective Deborah was doing some shopping at the mall. Suddenly, she heard people arguing. The woman went there and saw a stressed shop assistant and several people crowding him. The man had found a smartphone and made an announcement. And now, several people claimed it was their phone. One man said the phone must have slipped from his bag. A young woman said the gadget belonged to her, and an older woman shouted it was her husband's device. That's when the phone rang. For some reason, the shop assistant handed it to Deborah. The woman glanced at the screen and immediately gave the phone to the man. How did she understand whose device it was? Deborah saw the word wife written on the screen. Look at these three people who seem to be having fun. They're hanging from a tree, but one of them is a ghost. Can you guess who it is? The woman on the left has just rolled her eyes. That's why she looks so creepy. This guy is simply wearing a mask. But unlike the others, the hair of the lady on the right ignores gravity. She must be the ghost. Ivy has been partying all night long. Finally, she leaves the club. Ivy wants to call a taxi, but her phone isn't working. Three people are eager to give her a ride. Can you spot which drivers are dangerous? If you nailed it, please share your answer in the comments. The second car has a flat tire. Probably not the safest option. The third car is fine, but the driver is hiding an axe in his pocket. So, Ivy should definitely choose the first car. Unluckily, Ivy picks the wrong driver. She falls asleep on the way and wakes up in the city service tunnels. Ivy wanders around for a while and finds 3 tunnels leading outside. But they're not safe. A hungry alligator is waiting in the first one. The second tunnel is filled with acid that can dissolve Ivy's body in a few seconds. And there's a deep pit covered with sharp rocks in the third tunnel. Which tunnel should she choose to survive? Let us know in the comments. Ivy should choose the third tunnel. The water is running right into the pit, so it must be filled with water by now. Therefore, Ivy can swim through it safely. Ivy swims out of the tunnels and finds herself in the middle of the bay. She's rescued by a ship. The crew leaves Ivy to rest in the hold, but suddenly the ship begins to flood, fast. Ivy's trying to get out, but the hatch is stuck. She's locked inside the hold. How can Ivy survive? Think carefully and tell us your answer in the comments. She's got to hold her breath and wait until the hold is filled up with water. When the pressure is even, she'll be able to open the hatch. Ivy escapes, jumps onto a lifeboat, and arrives on an island. The lifeboat gets blown away by the wind right away. Ivy is alone on a desert island covered with dry plants. The water around it is infested with piranhas. Suddenly, a fierce fire breaks out, and the winds are blowing her away. Ivy can't touch the water in any way. How can she survive the fire? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. She should use a branch to burn some grass. When the flame reaches her, there will be a burnt out spot. The fire won't touch it. Phew, the fire is gone. Ivy is exploring the island. She finds a secret hatch in the ground, opens it, and enters a creepy dungeon. The hatch slams shut. Ivy is trapped inside. Thankfully, the dungeon has a sufficient supply of buckets filled with food, matches, and medicine for a week. But Ivy doesn't want to stay here that long, so she's searching for ways out. Soon she comes across 3 doors. A hungry bear and a cub are waiting behind the first door. There's a wall of fire behind the second door. And the third door leads to a lake filled with crocodiles. Which door should Ivy choose? Hurry up to be the first to comment. The bear will try to protect its cub. Crocs are a bad idea too, but Ivy can distract them with food and then use the lake water and the bucket to fight the fire. So she should choose the second door. Ivy gets out of the dungeon. Suddenly, she sees a helicopter in the sky. The island is still covered with dry, burnt plants. Can you help Ivy find a way to make the pilot notice her? Remember the matches and medicine kept in the dungeon? Ivy should use them to make a fire in the bucket to send a signal to the pilot. But if you come up with an alternative answer, be sure to let us know in the comments. The helicopter pilot, whose name is Andy, takes Ivy off the island. They're flying towards the mainland, but unfortunately the engine breaks down on the way. Andy has to land the helicopter as soon as possible. There are 3 options: a snowy mountain peak, an island inhabited by monsters who eat all strangers, and the foot of an ancient volcano. Which landing spot is the least dangerous? If you nailed it, please share your answer. Monsters are a bad idea. This volcano is about to erupt, so it's not safe to land here as well. But take a closer look at the mountain. It's located near a city. So this option is the safest. Andy and Ivy land on a mountain peak. There are 3 roads to get to the city. Which route should they take to stay alive? The comment section below is waiting for your answer. Only the second route leads to the city. On the way, Andy and Ivy get very hungry. They come across 3 food stalls, but only one has food that's safe to eat. If you already know which, don't hesitate to share it in the comments. The first chef doesn't wear any gloves and his hands are really dirty. No thanks. And the third kiosk is located right next to a toxic waste bin. So the second option is the best. Ivy finally made it home. The next day, she sends Andy this photo, and a day later, this one. How did she survive? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Ivy just photoshopped herself to make it look dangerous. Let's zoom in the second picture. She has a photo editor open on her computer. Ivy is a scientist, and today she carries her nanorobots to a scientific fair. Suddenly, someone attacks her. Ivy wakes up in a prison. The thief stole her bag. But thankfully, Ivy still has 3 tiny robots in her pockets. She has a toad robot that spits poison, a spider robot capable of creating very strong webs, and a butterfly robot that melts everything it lands on. Which robot can save Ivy? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. The butterfly can melt the bars. The bars are gone. Ivy runs along a creepy corridor and faces 3 open doors. Which door is not dangerous? Think carefully. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. The first lady is a werewolf, and the third lady isn't human. Take a look at her eyes. So only the second door is safe. This leg behind the curtain is just a kitten. Ivy passes through the door and continues her runaway. She faces a guard in front of the exit. He says,
If you solve my equation, I'll let you go. But if you fail, you'll stay in this jail forever. Add 1 line to make this equation true. You can't cross out the equal sign.
Can you help Ivy escape? Think carefully and feel free to leave your answer in the comments. She should use the line to turn one of the plus signs into a 4. This way, we'll get 545 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 555. Ivy nails it and leaves the jail. But there are 2 more prisoners trying to get free. Who's more likely to escape? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Digging through toxic waste seems like a very dangerous idea. But the first lady can distract the dogs with her sandwich. Therefore, her chances of escaping are higher. Andy invites Ivy on a date. He offers 3 options. He just received a brand new helicopter so they can have a romantic ride over the city. The second option is to swim in a pool on the roof of a 5-star hotel. And finally, they can go ride a Ferris wheel in the local amusement park. What should Ivy choose to stay alive? Don't forget to share your answer. All 3 options are risky. Take a look at the sky. There's lightning. It's forbidden to fly a helicopter into a thunderstorm. The Ferris wheel can be hit by lightning too. And swimming in a thunderstorm isn't safe either. But at least the guys can hide inside the hotel. Hit the like button if you manage to crack each riddle, and don't forget to subscribe. Marcus is a lucky game show winner. He can choose one of 3 prizes: a brand new Mercedes, an expensive laptop, or a designer wallet. What do you think is the best choice? Comment below. Look at this Mercedes. The logo is crooked. The car must be fake. The same goes for the wallet. This logo is supposed to be written in a different way. That's what the real logo looks like. But the laptop seems to be okay. The logo is correct. So, Marcus should probably opt for this device. On a rainy evening, Megan came home and found that someone had eaten her chocolate bar. She asked her sisters whether one of them had done it. Maria said she'd been working out in her room and hadn't left it the whole day. Amelia said she would never eat someone else's chocolate. And Emma answered that she'd been outside, watering plants in the garden. She'd just come home herself. Help Megan find out the truth and share your ideas in the comments. It must be Emma. Why would she need to water plants outside if it's raining? Kayla was staying at a hotel in Paris. One day, someone broke into her room and took all her expensive stuff. The police had 3 suspects. Alan said that he had been trying to pour himself some coffee downstairs, but with his arm in a sling, it had been extremely tricky. Marie told the police that she had been at the reception trying to solve some issues with her shower. And Bruce said that he had been sleeping. Help the detectives figure out who's guilty and leave them a message in the comments. Alan broke into Kayla's room. Look at his cast. He's wearing it over his sweater. It must be fake. Detective Morton has received wedding pictures of 2 newlywed couples from a client. He knows that both couples got married on the same beach in the Maldives. It's famous for its beautiful sunsets. But one of these couples is indeed very rich, while the other is broke. For some unfathomable reason, the detective client wants to know which couple has money. If you figure it out faster than Morton and write your answer in the comments, the detective will probably have to give you his badge. The guys on the right are wearing very simple wedding suits, but they're indeed celebrating their wedding on the beach. But if you take a closer look at the couple on the left, you'll soon realize the lighting on their fancy clothes and faces doesn't match the background. Plus, you can spot a few green screen fragments at the edges of the picture. Their photo isn't real. They can't afford to go to the Maldives in real life. They're broke. Mark found himself in the middle of a forest with 3 paths in front of him. The first one was covered with burning hot coals. The second path was so cold that it felt like Antarctica under his feet. And the third path was covered with sharp nails that were able to pierce any footwear. Tell Mark in the comments which path he should choose. The guy should pick the third path. All that ice is bound to be gone soon since it's too close to hot coals. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his gas tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and another customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $505. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. If you have any idea why he did so, comment below. You probably noticed that the cash register actually showed $18.35, but the cashier said $505, which looks like SOS. Detective Brown rushed to an expensive restaurant. Someone had stolen a gold spoon there. If the detective didn't find the real culprit, the waiter would have big problems. Luckily, there were still a lot of people in the restaurant, and Detective Brown questioned the main suspects. A group of friends said they were celebrating a birthday. They wouldn't spoil their party this way. A cheerful man said he'd been walking in the area and had dropped by to check out this place. And a miserable-looking guy answered that his wife had left him and he had come to the restaurant to take his mind off his problems. You must help the detective to find the criminal. When you do, write your answer in the comments faster than the others. The second man lied. He'd said he'd been to the restaurant for the first time, but look, he's wearing a hat with the restaurant's logo. Gotcha! Adam's car broke down right in the middle of a deserted forest road. But the worst thing was that it was winter, snowdrifts were huge, and the wind was freezing cold. Adam had to get to the nearest town, and fast. But if he followed the first path, he'd have to deal with hungry wolves. The second road went through the area inhabited by bears, and if he took the third path, he'd have to cross a river covered with thin ice. You need to help the guy as fast as possible and tell him what road he should opt for in the comments. Adam should sneak through the bear's territory. These animals usually sleep in the winter. Liza was a millionaire's daughter. She was fed up with her father trying to control her life. After he told her one day he'd found a fiancé for her, she decided to run away from home. The girl knew her father would send his people to bring her back, so she never stayed in one hotel for more than one night. Once, she found herself in a small town. It was getting dark, and she had no choice but to stop at the first hotel she saw. The receptionist said that her room number was 910 and offered to show her where it was. Liza immediately grabbed her bag, ran out of the hotel, jumped in her car, and speeded away. If you can write in the comments the reason for such a weird reaction, you deserve the title of the true detective. The first digit of a hotel room number usually means the floor it's on. Room 910 is supposed to be on the 9th floor, but look at the hotel. It only has 3 floors. Young fashion designer Bruno was preparing for his first show. He was a bit anxious, so he took a break to steady his nerves. But when it was time for him to present his collection, no one could find him. In an hour, a security guard saw him in the bathroom, lying on the floor. Someone had hit him on the head. The police had 3 suspects. Maya, one of the models, said she'd had problems with her dress and hadn't even had time to leave the dressing room. Catherine, one of the guests, said that she was Bruno's biggest fan and had been wearing his clothes for years. Apparently, she had no reason to hit him. Sam, the designer's assistant, said he had rushed to the nearest coffee shop to get Bruno an Americano to calm him down. Who is the culprit? Share your ideas in the comments. It was Catherine. That day, it was Bruno's first show. Then how could she be wearing his clothes for years? Richard had a collection of beautiful paintings. One day, while he was away, his favorite one got stolen. The police suspected one of Richard's neighbors. Nicole said she'd been out of town. She returned home just an hour ago and was so tired after a long drive that she immediately went to bed. Dennis said he had been getting ready to paint his house, but since it didn't seem the rain would stop anytime soon, he went to the movies instead. Julie answered that her sister had been feeling unwell. That's why Julie was busy looking after her little nephew. Take that magnifying glass of yours and tell us the truth. Who's guilty? It was Nicole. It had been raining for the whole day. If the woman had returned home just an hour before, the road under her car would be wet.